Right. Hey guys, what's up? Divine Sorcerer here with you. I wanted to let me make sure my volume's up. You guys can hear me. All right, so I wanted to stop in. You guys have seen my videos, or at least the partial AI skits that I've been talking about energy and Tesla's 369 and the vortex and sacred geometry and all that. I want to take a step back, tell you how I learned about all this stuff, right? All right, so in the beginning of my journey, when I came back into paganism, I guess you'd call it, heathenism, I learned about, well, I was in Judaism, but I learned about King Solomon and his magic and all that. That's what, drove me back into the paganism. But as I did, I stumbled across the Emerald Tablets and Hermes, Trismegistus, or Thoth, whichever, you want to equate it with. And so I found this article here that best describes it because, like I said, I'm all over the place with it, right? So let's, as you see in the picture here, right, let's talk about Hermetics, all right? Let's talk about the first 7 principles. The first one is the principle of mentalism, right? Now, we all have a problem with mentalism because, frankly, the world's fucking mental, if you ask me. Anyway, getting back to it, according to the Kabbalion, right, which is where all this comes from, the all is mind and the universe is mental. Now, the principle of mentalism states that the universe is akin to a mental projection. The is like manifesting 101. It's your thought project, which is all about using your thoughts to shape your reality. For anything to be a thought must precede it. Thought, through this principle that I'm getting ready to explain to you, it's believed that God is conscience, right? Or thought, kind of, to be conscience. And the universe is a manifestation of the mind of God. I'm saying the as seen below. Using this law, we too can harness the power of our minds to create the life we want. Because it starts with the mentalism, right? It starts with the thought, and then you manifest it, right? So the principle of mentalism, guys, we all suffer with it. So if you can't get it right, or you have problems even after not being a novice but being skilled, we all suffer with mentalism. We've all got them 2 voices. I'm telling you, it's hard, right? But check it out. The second principle, and you'll find out why I'm going down these principles, because I have found in my journey, right, that when you apply them to your everyday life, or at least when you get to know them, you start to notice a lot more things with them. And I'll show you what I mean as we go on, right? I'm trying to not make this a long video, but it's a lot of information. I keep putting out bits and pieces, and it's like chopping. I don't think anybody's really getting it. You are, but you aren't, right? So the second principle is the principle of correspondence. And we've all heard this quote before, but maybe you never knew it was Hermes Trismegistus who first coined it. It's closely related to the first principle of mentalism and states that we hold in our thoughts and minds will become our reality. It explains that many planes of existence, including those of lower and higher vibration frequencies, and how they're connected. Now, let me read that again, okay? Because it explains the many planes of existence, including those of lower and higher vibrational frequencies, and how they're connected. So now let's move on to the third principle, right? The third principle is the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates, according to the Kabbalion. I missed the second principle. Second principle was the as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without, as the universe, as the soul. So now we go back down to the third. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates, according to Kabbalion, right? So yes, believe it or not, the idea of vibes have been around a long, long time. The principle of vibration states that all things, both physical matter and spiritual energy, hold a certain vibration. Basic science tells us atoms are in constant motion, as the universe itself, right? I tell you all the time, Pappy. Even our hearts, as they beat, give off different vibrations depending on our emotional state. I will say that again, right? Even our hearts, as they beat, give off different vibrations depending on our emotional state. Again, it goes back to mentalism, right? And when you're vibrating high, we're able to avoid low level frequencies that don't serve us. Same thing as when we're low vibration, right? And so let's go to the fourth principle, the principle of polarity. Everything is dual, male, female, up, down, positive, negative. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites, like and unlike the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The Kabbalion, right? So the principle of polarity explains that seemingly opposite things are actually one and the same at varying degrees. A simple example of this is hot and cold. Cold is just the absence of heat, and they're both one thing, temperature. Physical matter and spiritual energy are the same thing, with spiritual energy vibrating at a much higher level such that it can't be perceived by our senses. Love and hate are two ways of experiencing the same thing, a relationship towards something. This is the foundation of alchemy, or the ability to transmute your experiences at will. You've heard me talk on this too. Again, it's mentalism. It's the state of mind. It's the feeling. It's the principle of polarity. Number 5, the principle of rhythm, right? Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swings, manifests in everything. Everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Closely related to the principle of polarity, the fifth principle states that between the opposing poles there exists an inherent rhythm. The tides move in and out. We inhale, we exhale. Everything is in motion. Nature has its seasons, and so, too do we. Understanding this principle allows us to recognize our life's and the universe's natural rhythms, so we can actually work with them rather than having them work against us. Again, the principle of polarity. Number 6, the principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. The Kabbalion, right? Everything is connected through the principle of cause and effect, karma. For each cause of one thing is merely the effect of something else. Not right now, guys. All right. So, for each cause of one thing is merely the effect of something else, going back to the very beginning. Ask yourself, are you a cause or are you an effect? This principle is all about acknowledging the effects of our thoughts and behaviors and how we may change them to bring about greater effects. Again, it goes back to the mentalism. These are all you'll find interconnected, guys. Like when you apply these to your everyday life, your life could get better. It's what you it's what you make it, right? So let's go to the very last, because a lot of people are going to be like, oh God. Some means that know are like, oh gosh. The principle of gender, right? Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes, the Kabbalion. The seventh principle states that all things have masculine and feminine qualities. Yes, the two sexes can be thought of as physical manifestation of this principle, but as we're all coming to an understanding on an internal level, all of us hold both energies, Think the left and the right brain, right? Masculine and feminine energies exist in not only the physical plane, but the mental and spiritual plane as well. The unity of these two energies is essential for creation. You've heard me talk about that like in past videos, right? And when one has a balance, I just put videos out. I'm always telling you about balance, right? Where was I? And when one has a balance of both, they're better able to apply all the principles together for maximum benefits. Now, this again goes back to mentalism, which goes back to the vibration, they're all intermingled. But when you understand it's you and it's your vibration, it's your mental structure, and it's how you mold it and manifest it. Your life's bad because, well, you keep concentrating on the negative. Kick it out. Bring some positive in, some upbeat, think positive. So, when we look at these 7 principles, the Hermetic principles, right? As I said, I've been applying all these, and they're hard, but I've been applying these to my life, right? And I've found, I don't, what are we at here? We're at like, okay, 11 minutes. Real quick. I'll make it another video, but real quick. So I found yeah, that when you take all these principles and you start to analyze yourself, man, that was a good hit. You can. Nope, wrong one. Nope, wrong one. There we go. You can take astrology, right? And you can take the principles of the mentalism, the vibration, the polarity, the gender, and you can apply them in your everyday life. But then we've got to go to the astrology side, because when we leave the physical plane and start going into the spiritual plane, as I have found, right, everything becomes astrological. Now, I'm pretty sure the Inca, the Mayan, the Aztec, they all knew this, right, which is why everything was astrological. So when you pass over into the spiritual plane, which is just another plane that the Kabbalah was talking about, it's astrological. So now let's take our body into the spiritual plane for a minute, right? And let's start looking at things. Because now we've got the Sun, the Moon, the Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, right? We know that the Moon has an effect on the water on Earth. It helps the tide, right? Same thing with our blood. It does that. Same thing. It has a lot of a role to play. So let's look. The Sun, right? Where's my other thing here? Hold on a minute. All right. So when you look at astrology, and you understand the Sun, the Moon, the Mercury, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, all the planets. You got your natal chart and your astrology houses. The Sun. The Sun governs the general flow of energy throughout the body as well as around it. Right? Now, you see the thing that I put here. Why did I do that? Because again, when you look at the Sun and the Moon, I've said this in my other videos, the Sun and the Moon travel this path. Principle of vibration and rhythm, right? They follow this path. Again, when you put this path on the human body, these are things that I'm learning, right? When you put this path on the human body, you get a map, guys. I'm pretty sure the ancients knew this as well, right? And so say like the Sun governs, and it's in your natal chart. You guys can read this on your natal chart. The Sun governs the general flow of energy throughout the body as well as around it. Etheric, auric, energetic bodies that are our energy but extend far beyond the physical bodies. The Sun is an equal partner in heart function, circulation, vitality, overall healing, right? The moon governs the fluid of the body. In the same way that the moon influences the tides according to her orbit around the earth, the moon similarly affects the fluids in our bodies: water retention, blood flow, digestive motion, the cellular moisture all responds to the moon's energy. Mercury governs mental functions and will equally influence both hemisphere and of the human brain. It promotes clarity and intellect, creative thought, as well as strategic calculations of the brain. Mercury also rules automatic body functions, breathing, blinking, etc., and works with the moon in digestive functions too. Now, Venus, we'll go on. We're just going to go right around the little the signs here that are in the charts that are right. Okay. Venus is a very sensual, tactical planet, so it makes sense it'll govern sensory organs. Venus plays her hand in pleasurable aspects of nourishment, in that the planet rules taste, tongue, swallowing, the mouth, saliva. Sensory perception of touch is influenced by Venus and her relationship with the dermis and epidermis, which is the skin. Venus also assists with the regulation of sweetness in the body, regulation of insulin, balance of sugars and carbohydrates in the body. Now, Earth. In fact, both the human body and the planet Earth have several connected systems that support life. The respiratory, the digestive, reproductive, musculoskeletal, nervous, and immune systems all play important roles in human life. The planet's stability relies on the balance, there's that balance, of its air, water, land, and life systems. Mars. As it is the red planet, it will be easy to remember Mars because it influences our red blood cells and natural oxidation in the body. Mars is also an assertive planet and is connected to procreative aspects of the body, such as the function of sexual organs. Jupiter, it's an expansive planet. So it makes sense that Jupiter governs physical growth of the body. Like Jupiter also assists in elimination and influences excretion and clearing out of toxins. This is evident in Jupiter's rulership of the liver and kidneys. On the whole, Jupiter has protective energy and works to facilitate growth while inhibiting structures, right? So we're finding that these planets, while just out there, actually have a purpose, right? Or in pseudoscience, or what they say. Like I said, I've been doing this research for a while, and this is what I'm finding, just what I'm finding, my observatory. Saturn. This is the planet of control and structures. So it is logical that Saturn would influence our own structures, meaning Saturn governs our bones. This planet influences the strength of our most basic inner stability in our structure, in our skeletal systems. It plays a part in bone density, distribution of calcium, and other fortifying vitamins. Saturn is also present in cartilage, teeth, nails, etc. Now let's talk about Uranus. Uranus governs the nervous system, both on an individual scale and on a societal scale. Uranus also plays the role in respiratory function, bronchial tubes, lungs, diaphragm, the cilia, the trachea. All are affected by the influence of Uranus. Consequently, Uranus's energy can be utilized to assist with soothing breathing malfunctions like bronchitis, emphysema, asthma. Okay, you can delve more into that. This is just the basis of what the planets are said to do or have a connection to. Okay, so now let's go to Neptune. This planet assists in the function of most glands, particularly endocrine glands, which play a role in the secretion of hormones. Endocrine glands include the thyroid, the pituitary, and the adrenals, all of which are considered to possess highly mystical properties, according to esoteric schools of thought. Now, Neptune also lends a helping hand with the lymphatic system also. Pluto. This planet or not, the debate has to whether Pluto is a planet or still it continues, blah blah. I'm going to include it anyway, okay, for its symbolic importance. Pluto has powers of renewal, okay, so it makes sense that Pluto influences the body's ability to rejuvenate, regenerate, and heal. Pluto plays a role in healing by governing the various functions within the immune system. It governs constant birth and death on a cellular level too. Pluto is also connected to the body's reproductive system, right? And so when you know this, you can take the planets and you can bring them over here to 1, 2, 3 and go all the way down, right? But now let's look at the astrology. Okay, let's look at the astrology of things, because each planet has a house, as you see here in the natal chart. So now Let's look at the first one. Okay, let's look at Aries because this is quite fascinating. Aries is the first sign. Okay, Aries rules the head. I got the graph here in the middle. Aries rules the head, the eyes, the face, the brain, the adrenal and subrenal glands. Yeah, suprarenal glands, and the pineal gland, or what you call the third eye, tucked deep inside the brain. Aries natives are particularly susceptible to bumps on the head and headaches. Relaxing head messages can reduce tension, or massages can reduce stress. So now we know that Aries has to deal with the head, the brain, the things that are in there. But it goes deeper, right? But this is just the beginning. This is just touching the surface. Taurus. Taurus is the neck. Now it controls the ears, the mouth, the teeth, the vocal cords. Falls under Taurus. Taurines, like the bulls that represent them, often have sturdy, thick necks and malficious voices, but might be prone to sore throats and strains. Now, that's if you're a Taurus, right? I have this all written out to where it's like 3 in 1. So I'm trying to read first because it equates to this middle picture. So, Gemini, let's go to Gemini, which is in the third house. This is the sign that twins rule over the upper body, like your arms, including shoulders, nervous system, airway, lungs, arms, and hands. Right? Cancer, number 4. Cancer, crabs, right, are connected to the eternal mother and rule the breasts, the alimentary canal, the stomach, and the upper liver. Leo. Leo is generous. Leo governs the heart, the spinal cord, the back. He's a big-hearted lion, right? So any cardiovascular conditions or back pain, especially with exertion, be Leo. Virgo, with rulership of the pancreas and intestines. Libra, the scales, they rule over the kidneys and, not unsurprisingly, the equilibrium as well. Kidneys filter waste from the body. That's Libra. Scorpio, the genitals and sex organs are ruled by Scorpio, as is the blood. Okay. Sagittarius, this sign rules over the sciatic nerve, hips, thighs, and the lower liver. Capricorn, which is the sea goat, they rule over the skin, the teeth, the knees, and the skeletal system. Aquarius, Aquarius, the body's joints, the circulatory system, the calves, and the ankles. Pisces, closing out with Pisces, right, is the fish, and they rule the feet. Okay, so as you see it goes down into this symbol, just like the sun, the moon, the waves, energy waves, right? But guys, it goes so much deeper than that, because when you start equating all this stuff, like I showed you the natal chart, right? Like you can literally dig down and like just like this, like the as above, so below. We are like Hermes had it right, man. Like you see the caduceus he's holding with the snakes and the wings, like that's a whole thing in itself. They knew how to live back then. They knew this knowledge that was stamped out that none of us know today because nobody studied it, nobody brought it. Well, there's a few that are bringing it out, and that's who I learned from. But you can do so much. Like you can understand that each of these houses, where was I here? Each of these houses, each one has a cell salt to it. Like, okay, for instance, Aries, which is the first, it's the head, right? It's got a cell salt to it, and its cell salt is calcium fluoride. Okay, what calcium fluoride does is its elasticity in surface of bones, blood vessels, and muscle tissue for various veins, cracked skin, hemorrhoids, muscle and ligament injuries, and the container of the body are nourished like the air sacs and stomach. It helps with emphysema, loose teeth, disease of the bone surface, muscle elasticity. Symptoms are worse in human conditions like Cancer, moon rules. Okay, that's the rest of the body. Okay, so number one, which is Aries, we see that has like an effect. Same thing that Aries. It goes hand in hand, guys. Like it's crazy. Like I'll have to put it together in short form because to go over like the houses, what they do, go over like cell salts, what they do, the body part, like it's all interconnected. Okay, but once you know the seven Hermetic principles and you start putting them in order, you can basically start using astrology and geometry and alchemy and sacred geometry. Like you can you can see the truth, right? You start to understand that things are a whole lot deeper. As above, so below. As the universe, as the soul. We are made of star stuff, guys. That is so very true. And I'd have never learned this if I would have never taken that step to learn using alternative medicine today for a better tomorrow. Using alternative medicine. Using what Mother Nature has given us. Like I don't, I don't take aspirin. I drink wine and I eat hot peppers. And for my cholesterol, I use garlic and turmeric, a couple other things. Like it's just fucking awesome. I can't explain it, but it's awesome. Like when you understand astrology and why they held astrology so high back in them days. Why they had shaman and medicine men and prophets and seers, because they all knew sacred geometry, how the world worked through vibration, which we just talked about, which was a Hermetic principle, right? Principle of vibration. I tried to show you that the other day in my one video. It's the seal of creation, you see the vibration. That's why when you listen to music, music gives you that effect, guys, because as you see, music also associated to the houses of the astrology, right? Pisces, B major, Aries, D major. Like these all go together. They all go together because of the pattern. Like I said yesterday, light is a vibration. It's a frequency. The higher it goes, it's IR. The lower it goes, it's UV. Like yeah, there's so much. But I'll be bringing more of a video out explaining everything. I just thought I'd come out and speak about hermetics and how important it is when you equate it with astrology, sacred geometry, alchemy. Like when I say dig down deep into who you are, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying dig down deep. Where is it? Dig down deep, guys, into who you are. Know who you are because it runs in all of us. Mathematics, astronomy, geology, they're all the same. Like it's in all of us. We are interconnected. Here's some more charts. See that? Interconnected, guys. Interconnected. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. All right, guys. I'll be bringing more out on this. Sacred geometry, alchemy, biochemistry. You dig into who you are. Know who you are. Like I said yesterday, so many people have come before you and died so that you could be here today. What are you doing with that chance? What are you doing with it? You just leave them. I don't want to do nothing. Or do you want to find out who you are and make something yourself? It's all about you. It's all about what? You want to tell me again? Mentalism It starts with the brain, and then you manifest it. But there's ways, there's laws, and there's ways that you do it. See that? All right, I'll see you on the next video, guys. It's already been a half hour. Have a kick-ass Thursday.